What do you do with flying colors? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Good morning, also known as Pajama Grandma. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are hearing my voice or seeing my face. If you are seeing my face, you know I have hot rollers in. And I do hot rollers with flying colors, right? I don't have any problem. And actually, I did hear the song Curlers in Your Hair, Shame on You. I think it was from like the 1960s, playing in my head this morning as I decided to not take my curlers out before making my content videos today, before documenting my journey of what I'm doing as I transition from the offline brick and mortar world, the corporate world, to the online world of business. Conscious choice, because I need curly hair this morning, or I need semi-decent looking hair for an important meeting this morning. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do my videos. I believe we do what we can with what we've got right now. And that means this is the block of time I have. This is when I'm going to make and document my journey. This is the time I've got. This is what I've got to do. And if that means I've got curlers in my hair, I've got curlers in my hair. That bothers people, which it does totally bother my family members. I'd say get over it. Again, it's more important that we do what we say we're going to do and we commit to that than it is how we actually look doing that. Now, will people judge us? Yes, but then they're not the right people for us, and I'm cool with that. So today we talked about with flying colors for Supersize Your Business and the importance of focusing on what you're awesome at, how you're different, and just being yourself. There will always be people that are better at everything you can possibly do. There will always be somebody that is prettier than you, that is smarter than you, that is got more money than you. If you're comparing yourself to someone outside of you, you can always find people that are better than you in your estimation at something and worse than you in your opinion at something. And if you are ever focusing on comparing yourself to other people, it's going to lead to heartache and disappointment, right? I didn't think that I was super competitive and that I compared myself to other people until I came online. And then I found with social media, it's so easy to see on the surface what other people are doing that I would waste time scrolling through and seeing what other people are doing. And I, of course, was in the guise of research and stuff that at some point you stop the research part and you're just following other people and watching them. And if we're watching other people, we're not usually doing our own thing, right? If we're spending time watching, that's time we're not spent doing. So I actually curtailed my scrolling, my membership in other groups. I used to be in a ton of different people's groups and different people's pages and things, and I just stopped following them all. I didn't unfollow them. I just stopped going there like every day. There are very few pages and groups that I check in with, and it's not every day. I can't think if there's a single group that I check in with except for my own every single day anymore. Now, a year ago, that wasn't so. And so I was spending all this time and energy watching other people and then comparing myself to others and watching and saying, well, how come that person's got 100,000 followers and I've got 10, right? How come so-and-so made $1 million on their launch and I made 12? Whatever it is, whenever we're comparing ourselves to someone else, number one, we don't know where they are in their journey. We don't know what they've done or what they've been through. So many people, and it's opening up a little bit more, people are becoming more authentic and sharing their story and telling their stories more. But for the most part, what we ever see is just the surface. You know that graphic of the iceberg where we only ever see the tip of the iceberg? We only ever see the tip of the iceberg. We only ever show people the tip of our iceberg, right? As much as I talk and share and give away and show people, it is only a little bitty piece of me, right? And I've done, I don't know, probably 3,000 videos in the last couple of years, which are, that's a lot, right? I don't think of it, but it's a lot. So I laugh when people say, tell me about yourself. And I'm like, just go check out my podcast or just go look on social media anywhere and, maybe watch one or two of my videos. And that pretty much tells you who I am. What you see is what you get. I always joke that I am a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. If you don't like it, go somewhere else, right? If you don't like me, there's 8 billion people on the planet. I think we're up to 8 billion people on the planet. I don't know, people say different numbers all the time. Kind of like statistics. You can say whatever you want with statistics and make it sound smart and factual, right? Yeah, that's what happens when you and quality engineer for a couple of decades. You get really cynical on numbers and how you can make them look. You get really good at it though, that's for sure. So with flying colors, what do you do? What do you love to do? Number one, what's in your genius zone? Number two, sometimes we are awesome at stuff that we don't love to do. Now, I'm trying to think of a quick example of that. I am really, really good at, well, I do like to find things. I would say I'm really good at naturally finding things, but I actually like to do that too. I get this really cool sense of satisfaction when I find something that somebody has lost that they've been looking for a really long time. I know, it's a weird skill, but I like it, and so I can't say that I don't love to do that. I'm really, really good at, I like cooking too. I would say I used to love cooking. Now I only like it, but I'm really good at it. So that doesn't apply either. So I'm trying to think of something that I am good at, but I really hate to do. I can be good at housework, but I hate to do it, right? I hate to do, I don't like housework. I know, the secret is out. I hate housework. Those close to me know that, but you might not have known that. But the things that you love to do that make your heart sing, what are those? I mean, I love learning. I have been learning since, you know, I entered this little planet, but I have really loved learning since about 4th grade. Up to 4th grade, I didn't like learning so much. I am sure, although I was undiagnosed, I'm sure I was dyslexic. I could write, but not very well. But I guarantee I was dyslexic before they knew what dyslexia was. And I, because of that, felt stupid, and I didn't understand why I was having trouble not being able to read and see like the other kids. Well, it turns out I also had terrible vision back then. I didn't get glasses and then contacts till I was about 11, so that's what, 6th grade? So until then, I didn't realize that I couldn't see squat, that I had really bad vision. And it wasn't until one of my teachers was like, what the heck? Because I was in the back row squinting, and I'm like, why would you ever put me in the back row? But that was back when they used to sit us alphabetically. I don't know if teachers still do that, but we would always have seating assignments, and they would sit us alphabetically. So depending on who was in your class would determine where you sat in the classroom, and you know where the teacher decided to make their seating chart. And it wasn't until then that she said, yeah, maybe you need to get your eyes checked. And then I got moved to the front of the room, and from then on I started to like school. I figured out, and I really don't even remember how I figured this out. I think it was because I got a camera as a gift or something, and I would look through a camera, and when I looked through a camera, it would focus things, and I could see things clearly for the first time ever. And I was like, at first I thought it was the camera that was doing it, and then I realized that it was how other people already saw the world, or most people saw the world. I guess that's probably where I started to realize that I was different, and that I had to embrace being different than other people and other kids if I was going to be happy. Now, doesn't mean I didn't go through the formative teenage and 20s where I was trying to conform and be like everybody else. I mean, we go through those phases where sometimes we don't want to stand out, we don't want to be different, we don't want to be ourselves. And then we realize at some point, again, it's all cyclical, right? It's all a big wave, ebbs and flows, that the only person we can be is ourselves. And what makes us special is it's what's different about us, what's unique, that makes us special. Otherwise, we would be just like everybody else. In some ways, we're like everybody else, and in a lot of ways, we are all different. We are all like snowflakes. I still think it's fascinating that nature can make trillions and gazillions of snowflakes, and they're all unique and special and different. And then I remember the same is true of human beings. Each and every one of us, even if they say you've got a twin or a doppelganger somewhere, you're still totally unique and different. Even, multiple births are totally unique. Even if they look identical on the outside, they're totally different, unique, and special human beings. So, thinking about with flying colors, what we do with Flourish, how we show up in the world, how we be who we really are. And it's really interesting. The older I get, the more I have found that, when you're younger, who you really are is over here, right? And who you show to the world is over here, right? The part of yourself that you'll really show to the world is just like infinitesimal, right? We put on veils and masks and makeup and curlers and nail polish, and we iron our outfits, whatever. We do all these things to conform and to fit in to our environment, to fit into the society and the world around us. That can be in both positive behaviors and negative behaviors, right? Whatever maintains our level of status quo in the environment that we're in to survive. Sometimes it's actually physical survival that requires that, and being prepared. But as we get older, some of us, not everybody, but a lot of people start to realize that it's more important to match up what you're doing and how you're spending your time and who you're spending your time with your true core beliefs and values and what is important to you than it is to fit in with everybody else. I don't know if that's just a maturity thing, and I guarantee everybody doesn't figure that out, but life's a lot more fun when you live in alignment, they call it, when you're living in connection and in concert with yourself, not opposed to yourself. When I was living like this, where this is who I am when I show up in corporate America, and this is just this teeny part of myself, my most professional, most serious, most smartest, most polished, politically correct self shows up for my corporate America jobs. And all the rest of this is who I really am. And you're not stifling it or hiding it or not being who you are. You're just leaving a whole lot of yourself behind. And if you find an organization and if you work with people that you have a core values match with and you're all working in the same direction for common goals, that works. But sometimes we actually work in jobs where we don't fit very well. Sometimes we go to work for organizations that have different goals and different values than we do. Sometimes we hook up with partners and in business and in life that have different core values than we do, and you'll go along for a while, but at some point those absolute positive core values will collide, and then a decision becomes necessary. Do you stay with the person even though you have a core values match, or do you separate? I say core values are something that you cannot compromise on. You will not and cannot compromise on. An example would be fidelity. To me, I have the core value of fidelity, and I cannot compromise on that. It's not an option. It's not an option for me. For my significant other it was, and for a lot of people it is, but for me it's just not an option. It's just not the way I was raised. It's not the beliefs that have been ingrained into me of that's the way it should be. And to each of us our own. The same with, theft or dishonesty and integrity. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to compromise on those things. I used to butt heads in one of my corporate jobs with the sales department, because sales and our sales senior vice president would promise the earth to our customers in that organization, and he wouldn't even take into account whether we were technologically capable of performing and delivering on those promises or not. And unfortunately, as quality manager, I'm not sure how it became the quality manager's job, but it was my responsibility and my job to clean up the messes and fix the damaged relationships that resulted in over-promising and not being able to deliver. Not just or under-delivering, but not being able to technologically deliver promises that were made by a different department. So we would butt heads, and I finally left that organization because my values are such, my core values are such that you under-promise and over-deliver. You don't over-promise and then not deliver. That's not even an option for me. It's like if you make a commitment, and maybe it all comes down to commitment. If you make a commitment to something, in my mind, you do it. Even if it's hard, even if you don't want to, even if you feel like quitting, even if you're having a bad day, you figure out a way to meet that commitment. And when I was younger, that got me into a lot of trouble because I way over-committed to stuff. I would say yes to way too many things, and it burnt me out and actually really was physically damaging because I always did way too much. And now as I've gotten older, I've learned that I still am the same. Once I say I'm going to do something and I commit to it, I'm absolutely positively going to do it. But I'm very careful at what I do commit to and what I say yes to now. I don't say yes to everything. I've learned that saying no isn't a bad thing. Saying no just means I'm not going to commit my resources, meaning my time and energy and effort, to this thing right now. And that's okay. I might do it in a week, but I'm not going to do it right now. And that is all filtered through where I'm going with my life, what my overall goals are in all 7 areas of my life, not just one or the other, right? I used to make almost all of my decisions based on finances and financial outcomes. And that was at the detriment of my health, my relationships, everything. And that, was some of the biggest lessons learned, was that there are a lot more aspects of our lives in order to survive and be happy than just making money or having a job or a career. So, Supersize Your Business was all about, with flying colors and flourish, how you do what it is that you do, how you show up in the world, and how that makes you feel. It doesn't matter how other people judge how you show up in the world. What matters is how you feel about how you show up in the world. So that was Supersize Your Business. Today, as a matter of fact, the 365-day fun challenge was all about giving and how giving makes us feel, which is perfect because for the live challenge workshop countdown, today is day 18, and it is all about giving in order to receive and get what you want. Giving value, yes. And so I'll talk about that after this video. Lots going on in my personal life today. Big day for me, and that's a really good thing. Big day of change for me, and that's a very good thing with respect to a lot of areas of my life that have been impacted in positive ways, because nothing is ever absolute, positive ways, but in a lot of negative ways too. And so it is an ending of sorts, and hopefully it won't drag out too long, but it's an ending of sorts in a lot of areas, so that is good. My amazing 4-year-old granddaughter was back yesterday. It was so good to see her. She was on vacation for a week with her folks, and I missed her. I missed her energy and her vibrance and her just adorableness, right? She is just such a little spitfire that I get a major kick out of her. And her little dog too. Not Toto, but Lila, her little puppy, was here too. And I swear her puppy has grown 2 inches. She's got a little Dachshund puppy, and it like jumps right up on the couch now, and it couldn't do that a week ago. So she looks like she's gotten like 2 inches longer. They're such fun little dogs, you know. They're little wiener dogs, but they're the long-haired wiener dogs. And she's just such a sweet little puppy, a sweet little pet, sweet little dog. And she will probably be with my granddaughter for, you know, all of her teenage years. They live quite a long time, and so I think that was a good thing that her mom got her a new puppy after they lost their dog. They had a short-haired Dachshund, and she passed away. She was really old. I think she was 15 or 16 years old, so that's long for a puppy dog to live. That's it. That's all I've got today. If I can help you in any way, hit me up in the comments below. Just again, documenting my journey, what I've screwed up, what I've done right. And some days I feel like I've screwed up a lot more than I've done right in my online journey. I'm actually thinking about doing, as part of the live challenge workshop, just a bonus day of, you know, the 20 biggest mistakes that I've made, or maybe just the 10. God, does everybody really need to hear all? I could probably make lists of hundreds, right? Isn't it interesting that we're so good at pointing out our own mistakes, but not necessarily acknowledging our own successes? So I'll do either a top 10 or top 20. I think I'll do a bonus of like the biggest mistakes I've made as I've been on this journey. And, you know, do I still continue to make some of them? Yes, but I'm consciously making them. I'm making them on purpose. I'm choosing to not fix the things that I know I'm doing wrong intentionally, which doesn't make them right. I think at some point I need to quit using that excuse and just fix them instead of having them be wrong. I'm talking about, you know, focusing on the one thing, because it's taken me over 2 years to say and commit to, all right, this is my thing, I'm going to focus on this. Even though what's really interesting about that is my thing has been my thing for at least 20 years, right? For probably more than 20 years. It's probably been my thing for 40 years. But it took me 2.5, 3 years of fighting it, thinking that, oh my God, I can't pick one thing. I have got to do all these different things, because if I pick one and it's the wrong one, the world will end. What will I do? Well, that's a false belief, right? The world's not going to end, because the world pretty much doesn't care what I do. Ooh, ego slam right in the face, right? The world doesn't really care what I do. But I can change the world, as can you. Because we can step up and say, this is what I do. This is important. This is how I'm going to change the world. Boy, that's going deep. Let's get off that track. So, again, I'm out. If I can help you in any way today, I'm a little discombobulated, but I will be here. If you have a question, hit me up in the comments below. I had an idea the other day for the program that's coming on the back end of the live challenge workshop, and I'll run it past you tomorrow. I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking, is this a crazy, stupid bonus idea? Am I biting off more than I can chew at this? Because again, if I commit to it, I am committing to it, and I will follow through no matter what. So I guess I'd like a little insight of other people's experience with respect to offering something or putting something in my offer as a bonus for really fast action takers, people that know that I can help them and I can help them, not because they got to do it themselves, I can help them change their world. But it's a big deal, and so I want to decide if I really want to commit to it or not, because sometimes I still overcommit, right? And then I'm like, oh, why did I do this? Why did I say I would do this? And I don't ever want to feel that way as I'm creating my online business. The reason I'm doing an online business is because I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want, with whomever I want, wearing what I want. And mostly, it's my pajamas because they're warm and cozy and I love them. All right, catch you tomorrow. Bye.